Episode 6 of Transfer Talk, and what has been a bit of a quieter week when it comes to transfer stories. Didn't get it out yesterday because I was recording some content that'll hopefully go out on the channel tomorrow night in place of our podcast. You can check that out if you want. I can't tell you exactly what it is just yet, but I'll give you some indication tomorrow on the news when it is scheduled to go up. There's just still a little bit of work to get done on that, but yeah, it's been a quiet enough week. We've seen the more spurious rumours that have been floating around about every single player and their sister that's been linked with a move to Leeds United start to kind of flitter away a little bit, and we're starting to get locked in on a couple of semi-credible and a few credible links to Leeds United, and we're starting to get an idea of what Leeds are strongly looking at in the next couple of weeks. It's still very early in the transfer window, probably not a massive amount of stress or pressure on them to get deals over the line right now, and they don't want to be rushing into things and trying to get the best value they can to make their pennies stretch further, to try and give Daniel Farke everything that he wants heading into next season. A couple of little things to box off before we crack into it. The Harry Wilson stuff, people are asking, where is he? We were told, weren't we? 1st of July, Harry Wilson in a Leeds United shirt. Still haven't seen it just yet. Well, apparently nothing to worry about. He is at a training camp. He's been videoed at a training camp. Is expected to link up with the Leeds squad next week when they're back. I think they're back on the 13th. I think it's the 13th. I could be wrong on that, but I think it's the 13th. So there is that one. Illan Meslier looks like he has been strongly linked with a move to Arsenal if Kepa Azpilicueta decides to move on from them in the summer. And Harry Gray, will get to the exits at the back end of today's video as well. There is a few to talk about, and we'll start to include them in this as well. But as always, this is more the back page rumour mill stories. We'll give you all of the sources on what they have been saying. You can form your own opinion on what you think. I'll give you my thoughts. They're just my thoughts. You can form your own ones. As I say, I'm not your mother, so you can make your own mind up on all of these. There's a few that have popped up late in the week that were interesting, but then I've kind of gone quiet straight away. And we'll start off with the first one, and that is one of those, and it's Maxime Estève. And you could be forgiven for missing this one completely. It kind of shot up and then vanished pretty quickly. 24 years of age, left-footed centre half, 6'4" in height, and his contract at Burnley runs until 2030. Now, despite Burnley going down last season, and people will always say this, and there's probably some reasoning for it, but he shouldn't probably be blamed on Burnley getting relegated. He's still a very good centre-half, hugely important in their promotion campaign, and the lack of goals that they conceded. Then they rebuilt that defence, probably not brilliantly under Scott Parker last season. They just didn't spend a huge amount of money either. He's very good in the air, he's a good ball carrier, technically very, very good, and pretty assured under pressure as well. His market value is rumoured to be anything in and around £26 million, which just does start to feel now like the standard market valuation for a left-sided centre-back. There's no discounts on this one when it comes to a sale from Burnley's perspective. There's no contract ticking down here that Leeds can try and get a bit of a bargain done on it. And Burnley didn't really overspend when they came into the Premier League, so they won't be necessarily under any major pressure to have to sell anybody coming into next season. And I would imagine if they want to get back up again, which is, that's their model up and down, they'll want to hang on to Maxime Estève next season. Where did this come from then? TEAMtalk were the ones that came out with this. They reported that Estève is one of several targets that Leeds are looking at to replace Pascal Struijk in that left-sided centre-back role. Yorkshire Evening Post Graham Smyth was also asked about this one specifically, and his exact quote on it is, "I don't know about that one." So he hasn't got any further detail on it, hasn't heard of any links or rumours to Leeds about Maxime Estève. So the credibility on this, pretty low. It's about a 5 out of 10. Again, TEAMtalk have linked it, but TEAMtalk have linked a lot of players. Came up, went away. He's a good player. I think he's a good fit for Leeds as well. I like him personally. Source isn't great on this, but it is an interesting one to watch. But until you start seeing somebody far more credible, and I don't mean that TEAMtalk aren't credible. They do get some stuff right from time to time, but they've thrown a huge amount of players at Leeds United this summer. So when you start to do that, you have to start poking holes and stuff at some point. So right now, no one else really picked this up and ran with it, but it's an interesting one. Let's get the latest on Shay Charles and where we are on a Sunday morning. Right, so say Shay Charles, 6'2" in height, 22 years of age, central defensive midfielder, left-footed. What do we know about this so far? Well, we know that several offers have gone in from Leeds United to Southampton. We know that there was a story towards the back end of last week that Leeds had put in a £23 million offer plus add-ons that could bring it up to over 25 million quid. No stories whether it's actually been rejected. The line that has been used was that Southampton intended or had intent to reject the bid. And there's nothing really at the time of recording, which is, stands for all these stories. Nothing has actually gone out to say that the bid has actually been rejected just yet. Barron Cross and The Athletic says that talks between the two clubs are said to be ongoing. TEAMtalk have gone a step further on this now, again into the back end of the week. They've said that they believe that this deal will go through this week or next week, coming in the next couple of days. Southampton won £30 million for Shea Charles. Leeds have gone 23 million plus add-ons, so probably in around 25 million pounds. So there's still a bit of a gap there right now. There's a definite move being made by Leeds. We know that much. It's a definite link. Some outlets might be looking for the tap in on this one, and you'll see it on the social media all week. It's happening today, ... and we'll wait and see, and then it doesn't happen, and rinse and repeat that for a couple of days. So it feels like TEAMtalk might be looking for the tap in on this one to say, as reported by, and they could have some insight into this. TEAMtalk tend to start getting things more accurate when there's actual direct contact between clubs involved in it, but nothing really else. Alex Crook from TalkSport said that Southampton intended to reject it, but again, as I say, that hasn't come out right now. We're still very early in the transfer window. No real major rush on it. If they want to get it done, they're probably likely just take their time on this one to get it done. There doesn't appear to be a huge amount of clubs in the mix for Shea Charles. Manchester United had a bit of a look at him. There doesn't appear to be a formal approach by them. So right now, Palace were rumoured a week or so ago. Nothing really else has come from that just yet, and that could change obviously in the next couple of days. But we move on to the next one. Everyone's dying to know who the Igor Paisho of this summer's transfer window is going to be, and it's starting to look a bit like Zion Suzuki, if I'm being honest. Pierre's been asking an awful lot. I think this is probably the one, Pierre. Zion Suzuki, and this is, again, it's still early in the window. We could get another saga before we get to the end of it. 6'3" in height, 23 years of age, Parma goalkeeper, sweeper keeper, good on the deck, good at commanding his area as well. Very good young goalkeeper, but does have the impulses that you get from a young goalkeeper. So has got the odd mistake in him or rash decision in him, but you expect that from young goalkeepers. Had a very solid World Cup, a 70.6% save percentage at the World Cup. Gianluca Di Marzio came out at the back end of last week or this week and said that Suzuki is Leeds' most concrete goalkeeping option. And that went from that with a full stop at the end of it to being Leeds United have agreed a deal to sign Zion Suzuki, which is a huge step. Again, looking for tap-ins. But that jumped on. Now, TEAMtalk got involved towards the back end of the week. Again, they're reporting that Leeds are trying to close a deal and the 49ers would be willing to go beyond the €30 million, so 27-ish million pounds mark, to try and close a deal on this. Now, Football Seki then in Japan came out and they claimed that an agreement had already been reached for a contract for Suzuki up until 2030, which is a very definitive statement to make. Zinny Boswell from Sky Sports then pushed back on this and he said, although Suzuki is a goalkeeper that Leeds are interested in, as of right now, Leeds United are not actively pursuing Zion Suzuki, at least until they get the Carl Darlow situation sorted. So it does appear, for all intents and purposes, that Zion Suzuki is a goalkeeper Leeds have on their shortlist if they can sort out the Carl Darlow situation. Andy Cousins was on the podcast during the week and he said that personally thinks Leeds United's goalkeeping positions are locked down. They don't need to invest in that area if they can keep Carl Darlow for another year or so. Maybe it's when they look at next year. Maybe you give Lucas Perry more time to adapt to English football and you get the best out of him. So there is still ground there. Andrea Russo, who has helped out on the podcast over the last couple of months, he was talking about this as well. Andrea lives pretty close to Parma and he's checked out the local Parma media on this to see what they're saying locally. And locally, they're not reporting that Leeds United are interested in Zion Suzuki. But the local media reporting is Aston Villa are the most likely destination for the Japanese goalkeeper right now. Now, if you look at X, the line you will have seen all week on X is Leeds ready to make offer for Zion Suzuki. That appears to have been there since last Friday, that Leeds have been ready to make an offer. So if you're on the blocks in a 100-metre sprint, it's a hell of a way to get ready to go. They still haven't appeared, at least publicly, a official bid hasn't gone in just yet, or a formal offer hasn't gone in just yet. We haven't heard any reports from any local media in Leeds to say that there's some form of an offer gone in or is a player they're actually moving for. Graham Smyth said it's an ambitious move if they decide to go for it, but again, no confirmation that they have moved. And if an agreement is in place, then you would imagine you would have heard it from David Ornstein, Barron Cross at The Athletic, Graham Smith in the Yorkshire Evening Post, Isaac Johnson in Leeds Life. You would have likely heard it from them because, again, Harry Wilson hasn't done his medical, hasn't signed his deal yet, hasn't shown up in a Leeds shirt yet. but they've still reported that there is an agreement in place. So if there's an agreement in place, you would imagine that information would get out. He's a very good young goalkeeper. We might get him. Again, it might be one they're willing to sit back and wait a little bit of time on this. They didn't exactly rush to get Lucas Perry in the door last summer either, while they were trying to figure out which goalkeeper they wanted. So there is still probably a bit of ground to run on this one, but we'll keep an eye on it and wait and see. But as of right now, the Leeds ready to make an offer. I mean, if you're ready, you make it. You know, we'll see. Let's talk about Ladislav Krejci, who's popped up again this week. It's the same names that are circling the plug hole at this moment in time. And Krejci is absolutely one of the names that just keeps coming back and keeps coming back and keeps coming back. 6'2" in height, left-footed, central defender. Plays for Wolves, very good in the back three. Can even do a job in central defensive midfield if needed. Good pass for the ball, good at building up from the back, calm, and a good attack option for set pieces as well. Fits Farke style pretty well. Would be a good option for Daniel Farke. I think Daniel Farke likes him from everything that we are hearing. TEAMtalk have been the front runner on this story since day one. It's probably gone back to April, May time now at this stage since they put that up. And they even go further again this week to say that they believe that a deal for Ladislav Krejci could be fairly close. Now, how long's a piece of string? We'll have to see what that actually reads like. Now, Graham Smyth, though, in the Yorkshire Evening Post, as part of the Inside Ellen Road podcast, was asked about Ladislav Krejci directly, and his quote on that is this: Krejci is another one that I think they will look at. I'd imagine that could be one of those market opportunities that they speak of. I think it's a really, really key one that they get right. Now, the fee on him is rumoured to be £26-ish million. Again, seems to be the going rate when it comes for left-footed centre backs. I do think he fits, again, similar to Esteve. I do think he fits quite well. I think he knows the Premier League. I think there's no real betting in period. I think Daniel Farke could use him straight away. The fact that this has been floating around for so long, maybe there is something strong on this. Graham Smyth saying that they do like him. He is a player they admire. Whether they can get a deal done, Wolves are expected to sell him after just buying him for 26 million quid. They want apparently 40. There's no way Leeds are going to pay 40 for him. No, there's no way anyone's going to pay 40 million for a player that a club has literally just paid 26 million for. So we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, that one has popped back up towards the back end of last week, and we'll see where that goes. I really get the impression that we're going to be waiting until the players come back into pre-season before we see any major moves on transfers. And I could be wrong, but I do think there's plenty of time. I don't think there's a massive panic or rush at this moment in time. Let's get some exit rumours that have come out as well, or stories as well. And the first one is Harry Gray. This one seems all but done and dusted and confirmed. 17 years of age, turns 18 in October, and will be heading out on a season-long loan, probably this week or next week. It's Sunday, so you know what I mean. The Yorkshire Evening Post have confirmed that Sheffield Wednesday have won the race to sign Harry Gray, and that he will sign a 1-year loan deal with them, and he'll get a full pre-season with the club as well, and he'll go out and link up with Liam Cooper there. It's a good move for him. It's the next step in his development. He's been in League One already, so he knows what it's about. He'll be at a side that should be competing towards the top end of the division next season rather than the bottom. But yeah, good move from him and good timing that he gets a full pre-season and beds in properly with the club and see how he gets on. But yeah, we'll keep an eye on him. But well done. Good move for Harry Gray. They say imminently. It'll be announced imminently, so that'll be what, next day or two. So there you go. Willie Gnonto's the next one that's we're talking about, and again, it's popped up in the foreign media more so than the local media. So there are some reports from TEAMtalk as usual, but Freiburg are still being mentioned as the side in Germany that wants to sign Willie Gnonto. Still the same line coming out there that has been coming out for months that they like him. Transfer fee could be an issue. TEAMtalk reported last week that up to 5 Italian clubs could be interested in Willie Gnonto, but they haven't confirmed any of those clubs' names. There's no specific clubs outside of Freiburg that have been linked with a move for Willie Gnonto. He is expected to leave Leeds this summer because Leeds are looking for replacements in that position. And TEAMtalk believes that Leeds want between 15 and 20 million pounds for Willie Gnonto should they decide to let him go. And all indications seem that he will go. The player will want more football. Roberto Mancini's back in charge of the Italian national side. He likes Gnonto, has played him in the senior side before, so he could be looking at a route back into the Italian national side as well as they get ready for their Nation League games and the Euros after missing out on the World Cup. So an interesting one. Again, he's just one of those names on our bingo card that we expect is probably going to go. I think Joe Piro's on that as well. No confirmation of anything. deathly quiet on Joe Pirro right now. The other one's just to box off real quickly then. Joffy, we know the story there. Hull City want to bring him in, but they're happy to wait until the end of the transfer window. They're set to have other priorities right now. And Largi Ramazani, very similar position to Joffy. Valencia want him, but they are willing to wait for better market opportunities, is the line that has been used, which means they're happy to sit back and see if anybody else gets involved in this. And if nobody does, try and get him for a cheaper deal, which is smart business, to be fair. For Leeds' sake, they'll hope that somebody else comes and gets involved in this situation. Or maybe Daniel Farke looks at him and thinks, why not have him in the club next season, depending on how he wants to play. But if we're not going to play with out-and-out wingers, if we're going to play a similar style, it looks like Farke will want another 10 rather than an out-and-out wide man. Wilson will cover one of those positions, but still wants an out-and-out 10, according to everything that's being said. Anyway, as always, just my thoughts, my opinion on it. Let me know yours down below in the comments, what you think of the players, the links, who you'd like to see in those positions. General thoughts on it so far. And I'll be back tomorrow morning, Monday, for more Leeds United news. And we'll see where we go from there. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. See ya.